Harry, this article says that you are the father of women's suffrage. What is that all about?
Well, that's the first time I've ever been so designated. It's the first time I've ever heard the words expressed in that particular manner. Uh, I had always been given credit, of course, properly so, for having cast the deciding vote that gave women the right to vote.
Are you a member of the legislature in 1918?
I was elected in 1918. I served in the regular session of 19 and 19, and this was a special session in August 19 and 20, near the end of my first term.
Now, what did you do to give the women in this country the right to vote?
Well, it took 36 states then to amend the federal constitution. There were 48 states, and 35 had already ratified. And they began a drive to try to get a 36th state, and they prevailed on Governor Albert Roberts of Tennessee to call a special session of the legislature. It was called in early August 19 and 20. And the state Senate passed the resolution, say 3 or 4 to 1, overwhelmingly. It came on over to the House. They first thought that the House would pass it maybe by a 5 or 10 vote majority, but there was hundreds and almost thousands of lobbyists around Nashville from all over the United States because it was a national question. And I had left Nowata, my farm, and where my mother lived, to going to Nashville planning to vote for women's suffrage. But after I got over there, my political advisors, the elderly statesmen in McMinn County, suggested that we ought to let it go over until January, the regular session.
Then it was actually your deciding vote and your work that passed the amendment.
Yes, they made a motion to table. The opposition did. And I was willing to let this go till the January session, so I voted to table. And the vote was 48 to 48, a tie.
Tell me, Harry, are you happy now that
Yes, I've been asked that question 10,000 times, and I've always been glad to answer yes. I've always been glad I did.